Okay, welcome everybody to the July 9th, 2024 Go Green Illinois meeting. Beth said this was, I think, our 67th meeting, 66th meeting, something like that, which is amazing.
The 68th meeting.
The 8th meeting. Okay. So once a year we try and do a meeting where we learn from each other, which is really the original purpose of the group. And we invite people to share some ideas and some successes that you've had in your communities so that we can try and duplicate those. And as a result of these meetings, we've had things that have happened across communities, like the garden tours. Many of our communities do those. The solar tour, which last year I think we had multiple communities participating in. So we try and do things where we can all participate in our own communities in our own ways, but learn from each other how to organize these things. So we're going to start out with we've got I think 8 or 9 different reports that we have scheduled, but if anybody has something additional that they want to share, just put in something in the chat and I will call on you when we get to that point. But we're going to start with Nicola Brown, who is from the Illinois Solar Education Association, who's going to talk about the solar tour for this year, which will be a little bit different from prior years.
Thanks so much, Kim. Yeah, so we are changing the solar tour a little bit. We listened to some feedback from previous years that it was too long, that there weren't enough guests. So we're doing more of a focused solar tour that we're holding throughout the whole summer instead of many tours all on one day. And we are asking folks to choose, if you were wanting to hold a tour just in your community, there are sort of 2 ways to do it. If you want to be involved with ISEA's tour, we ask that you choose a single home in your community that you can submit to me at my email, which is nicola.brown@illinoissolar.org, nicola.brown. And that home, we're looking specifically for homes that not only have solar, but also have other technologies that you can that are integrated. So like EVs or batteries, or if you have electrified your home or have, other such clean energy integration technologies at your home. And so we want to focus people's attention on a single home so as to make it more personal, both for yourself as well as for guests, and hopefully increase attendance. However, if you are still interested in holding a tour similar to the one you held last year, you're welcome to do that on your own, and ISA is more than happy to promote that. So we would put that on our calendar, whatever day you choose for that, and we could send out an email on your behalf to our contacts, and you're welcome to use our handouts from previous years as information to give out to guests. I can put the solar tour landing page in the chat if people want to read more, or if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask now.
Okay, thank you so much.
I do have a question.
Yep.
First of all, I'm sorry, this is Liz Bowman from Go Green Displays. What does ISEA stand for?
That is the Illinois Solar Education Association.
Okay, so please put the website in the chat. That would be great. I'd love to learn more about what you've done so that we can, learn and grow. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
The link to their website, the solar tour page, is in the chat. Thank you for that. But I want to also mention that's where I send people to the ICEA website for if they're looking for a solar contractor. There's a list of contractors on there. There's a list of questions to ask a contractor. There's all sorts of really great information if somebody's looking to add solar. I like to say we have both kinds of solar on our house. We have solar thermal, which is hot water, and we also have solar photovoltaics. I want to mention 2 related items. Highland Park is planning to participate in the solar tour with one home that will be, I believe, on August 15th. I think that's the date we selected. It's going to be in the evening on a weekday. And this person whose house it is also happens to have 2 electric cars, which is excellent. We may do a mini EV car show in conjunction with that, because there's a parking lot very close by that would be conveniently located. So I'm looking for people to help organize that in Highland Park. I want to mention that there's a battery storage ordinance, model ordinance that has been kind of circulating around. I'm not sure who put it together, but that is something that I just got on my radar screen the last couple days. It's a proactive approach as more and more battery storage is beginning to happen, to making sure that goes in an efficient way and in a safe way. So our staff will be looking into that at Highland Park. And if there are other communities that are interested in that, feel free to send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat. So thank you, Nicola, for all the work that you do on solar.
Absolutely. Thank you for all your work as well. All right.
And and the solar tour, if people are doing the solar tour, submit an event to our website so we can get it up there as well. Liz Kunkle, are you ready to talk about yard tours? You've got to unmute yourself.
I know. I was going to take one more second to see where we were on ticket sales. Sorry to join a minute late. But yes, I am ready to talk. So hi, everyone. Here, I'm going to refresh my link. Hang on for one second. I'm Liz Kunkle. I'm the head of Go Green Winnetka. Yeah, I do most things in Go Green Winnetka by following, sorry. Hi, I'm Liz Kunkle, Go Green Winnetka. I follow in Beth's footsteps in Go Green Wilmette. So when they did their yard tour, I couldn't go for the first few years, was able to go pre-pandemic for a couple years. Go Green Winnetka did, we did yard tours in 2018 and 2019. We choose 6 yards in Winnetka that have just a variety of sustainable features. There's no, requirements that people do or do not do certain things. We don't prevent, we don't say if you use pesticides, you're not allowed on the tour or anything like that. We call the tour Yards That Work. I didn't come up with the name, but somebody in my community did, and I love it. I'm a word person in general, and I like the message that delivers. This isn't a garden tour. It's not about beautification, although what people are doing is beautiful, but this is about making your space work for you. Whatever you need, whatever your issues are, if you have issues to solve or you want to change something, it's making your space work for you, hopefully using native plants and, minimally invasive services and systems and things like that. So we have 6 yards. We did it 2018, 2019. We did not try to do anything through the pandemic. Go Green Wilmette was able to do theirs virtually and did some amazing switches, doing some timed entry things. Ours was not far enough along to tweak or switch that in any way during the pandemic. So we took a hiatus for a couple years. Turned out to be 3 years. I tried to do it in 2022, but we couldn't put it together. The issue is really getting in front of the potential homeowners and the hosts and feeling like you're giving them enough lead time and connecting with them. And in 2022, we just didn't have that lead time. So we got in front of it for last year, 2023. That was our first tour since pre-pandemic. I've always used Eventbrite. We say registration is not required, but requested, but in actuality, it ends up sort of being required because it's the best way for us to share the information about the tour. And again, I took this from Go Green Wilmette, as their tour was growing a number of years ago. They're very careful about sharing the addresses of the hosts. Obviously, ultimately, they technically become public in some ways, but you don't want to just blast them all over the internet. So Go Green Wilmette was always really careful, and it's something I followed to release the addresses and a map for the tour just a couple days prior to the event. So I like using Eventbrite to do that because it makes it easy to communicate with people. You can communicate with everybody who's registered in one fell swoop. You can add follow-up directions, details, attachments, things like that. You can add a follow-up email after the fact and kind of do an informal survey. So it makes it really, it's a great tool. I will say though, I think Eventbrite has moved away from a free model. And even if you're doing a smaller event, there may be a small cost to it now. But it can be manageable. But FYI on that, I did notice that this year, and it was while I was in the middle of setting it up. So I did feel a little stuck, but it was $9. So we did it. So our last year when we did it, I set the limit in Eventbrite for 100 tickets and was sort of, I don't know, cautious and nervous. I mean, didn't want like 100 people descending all at once on a, you know, our a homeowner's yard. And again, a couple days before the event, I checked to see, and we had maxed out our 100 tickets like the day before, like the Friday, 2 days before our event. And so I was able to add in 50 more tickets for sort of no extra charge or the equivalent of no extra issues for that last year. And we sold those 50 tickets in one day. They were gone immediately. The interest is really there. And this year we were late. Again, I was just late getting the info out. Our promotions have been going really well, but in terms of getting the ticket info out and the dashboard or the Eventbrite tickets available, I wasn't able to do that until last weekend. The Eventbrite page went live Saturday night, but we didn't even put it on our website till the next day, or put it out through our newsletter until Monday. And we've sold 84 tickets so far since Saturday. We're really, really excited about it. I'll drop the link in the chat when I'm done, and highly recommend, please share it, and please do what we're doing. And so the other really amazing thing that we've done, I don't see my friend Terry on this, but I don't know if there's another page I can't see. But anyway, there she is. I see her. Hi, Terry. Terry Cross is our amazing communications director, kind of / vice president in Green Winnetka. And Terry has what's really changed over the last couple of years is Terry joined us during COVID, and Terry is a communications master. It's true. I mean, literally, she has a master's degree in communications. I'm not kidding. But so she's done things like create these amazing yard signs that we use. I mean, I had like Go Green Winnetka yard signs, Go Green Wilmetta's use yard signs, but Terry uses these amazing photographs. Like she just upped the graphic, you know, the impact that these signs have. And I'll drop some of those in the chat so you can see them. I mean, they're just photographs, but it's just, it really makes the signs themselves so appealing and so eye-catching. And then the other thing Terry's done is not just create better signage and more interesting signage, but she's really worked hard over the last couple of years to develop a network of people throughout Winnetka who are just interested in posting those signs in their yards to advertise the tour. So we've got like a network of like 20 people who will put yard signs in their yards to promote our various events. And just this summer, we've started hearing people, like when we're in farmers markets and stuff, they're like, you guys are everywhere. And that's what we like to be. That's what we like to feel like. And so the last thing I'll say, and I'm obviously happy to talk about this, happy to answer questions on or offline, but because we'd done the tour for a few years, I did start a list of just a running list of addresses so I could keep track of who had been participant in the tour previously. And that document, it's a Google Doc, and that document this summer with Terry putting stuff in about promoting the event, it's become a whole planning document for the event, including a promotion strategy, connecting with Go Green leaders, local leaders, and things like that. So I'm going to turn that planning document into sort of a template that I'll share with the group later. But it's got a lot of Go Green specific info, Winnetka specific info in there right now. But it's become a really useful resource that we're happy to share.
Thank you, Liz. That's great information. I know that there are multiple garden tours on the 14th and also on the 21st. Thankfully, it seems like we've scheduled them well, because I think the Highland Park one is in the afternoon, but the Wilmette one is in the morning on the 21st. And I think you guys are on the 14th. So there's another one maybe on the 14th, but they're mostly posted in the calendar on the website. So take a look at that. Rose, are you on?
Yes, hello.
Okay.
So I'm in the library of my dad's assisted living community, so anybody could come in right now. Hopefully not. I am here, I chair the Environmental Commission in LaGrange and volunteer with Go Green LaGrange now. Kim asked me to talk about our park district's park district plan proposal. They are seeking, they're going to referendum to seek a bond to pay for a major park renovation. And I was really concerned about synthetic turf. And also another thing that I and some others were concerned about was expansion of parking lots that would replace plants and trees and native vegetation. So it does appear that our park district is going to not have synthetic turf to keep the field as a grass field and not expand the parking lot. So those were two exciting developments. There's been a series of surveys and meetings and things throughout our community in LaGrange. I happen to get word early, and that is key if you want to make an impact, if you want to have your voice heard. I did hear somebody was on a task force and gave me the heads up. So then I started following more closely, going to park board meetings, following the information, educating myself, learning more about synthetic turf, gathering resources that I could share with people that I knew would be interested. Shared it with my local League of Women Voters, the Go Green LaGrange, environmental commissioners, native plant enthusiasts. You know, they all generally did not want synthetic turf and wanted to preserve the natural spaces. So getting informed, going to board meetings. I also contacted one of our village trustees, you know, and said, hey, this is happening, and started giving some of the people that I thought would be interested, you know, either on the task force, on our village board, park district board, you know, emailing them information. And you have to do it more than once, right? As you learn, you share, because they're learning about it maybe for the first time. They hadn't really thought about the consequences of expanding parking lots or synthetic turf. So educating yourself, getting the information, getting the parties interested, meeting at my house, some people I had over to talk about the issue more, because what seems obvious to you, or, you know, in your process, other people, it takes time for them to understand the implications. So we did all that. I prepared some documents too that I circulated to people, and encouraged them to fill out the survey that was done. So I'd say start early, get educated, you know, share the information in a variety of ways and communicate your message. Having people weigh in on the message as well, right? You know, make sure your message is not confusing, right? If you don't want synthetic turf, say that's what you want. Don't put too much information. So that was a process. It did take some time. And I would like to start a regional group. So if anybody's interested, there are pockets throughout the country where there are environmentalists, doctors, concerned parents who have come together to evaluate synthetic turf and talk about the health and environmental risks. So, you know, I wasn't able to find a regional group in Chicago. There's some in Maryland and California and Massachusetts. So that's something I talked to Kim a little bit about too, is how we can maybe get a group going to support each other.
Thank you, Rose. Seems like we've done a good job of getting some of these park districts to move away from pesticide use, and now they are moving on to synthetic turf. So we have to keep going, apparently. Gia, are you on? Talking about the Sustainability Expo in Morton Grove.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was
No
just
problem.
typing, trying to multitask over here. So I wanted to just talk about the Morton Grove Sustainability Expo a little bit. We have it coming up in September on the 14th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the way that Go Green Morton Grove has sort of partnered with our village is by helping to support them with both volunteers, but then also sort of ideas of exhibitors and, you know, who they could reach out to have tables. Our event is unique in Morton Grove. It's free to be an exhibitor. So if you want to have a table and sign people up, or you've got something that you're passionate about that's related to the environment, it's free to be there. So this is our third year doing it, and every year it seems to grow. Every year it also incorporates a EV car show. This year there will be like I think they're doing some kind of recycling event as well. So you can bring sort of things that are challenging to recycle to this event and be able to recycle them in the proper way. So I really wanted to talk about three things in relation to this event because Morton Grove is kind of a unique body. Our village is usually kind of hesitant to take on anything new. We are very slow to act in this village. And it takes a lot of sort of prodding and information and, people showing up at meetings to get them to move forward. So in the last few years, we've actually made really great progress. And I wanted to highlight a couple ways that we've done that so that if your village is also kind of slow to act, or you have kind of some either elected officials or village staff that are challenging to work with, maybe you could use some of these tools as well. So the first one is staying engaged. It can get really frustrating, but going to all of those meetings is really important. Having at least one person from your group show up at meetings to either be able to speak or to take notes and then bring those notes back to your group is really important. Paying attention to the village process and when they post their agenda so that you can have time to be able to come and speak on agenda items as necessary. And then also meetings like this, when you find out something interesting that's coming down the pike from a state program or a grant that's coming up or something, those are things we bring to the village's attention because at least in our village, they don't seem to be paying close attention. So when we bring something up or we, mention a specific code that's coming or something that's going to be released on January 1 that they're going to have to do and pay attention to, they kind of perk up and listen. So having people at meetings is super important. And this is something that people can participate in both in person, but also most villages have their meetings recorded. So you can always watch them later and tune in another way. And you can usually make comment in a remote way as well. So if you can't be there in person, you certainly can submit comment to your village meetings. The second one is that we have put Go Green Morton Grove people onto commissions. When there are openings on commissions, we have tried to fill those with local people that we know have the best interest in environmental protections in place into those positions. So we've encouraged people to apply. We've told them what it is involved. We currently have multiple people that sit on the Environment and Natural Resources Commission and also on the Community Relations Commission, both of which seem to do the bulk of the work in relation to the environment in Morton Grove. And then the last one, and probably the hardest one for our group to do, is accepting a backseat. So while we push for things and while we go to all the meetings and while we give them ideas and while we lay out plans and we put them in touch with all the grants, then our village really likes to take credit. And so for some of our leadership, it's been pretty challenging to see them take credit and not really give credit to the groups and the residents who have really come forward to push these things forward. But by letting them take the lead, especially on things like the Environment and Natural Resources Commission, our sustainability plan, and also the Sustainability Expo, it really means that now they have a concerted effort and it's something that's in their budget. It's something that we can now push them for because, they know more about it and they also have staff buy-in. So it was a learning curve for us to sort of say, yes, let them take the lead and let them act as though they've always been really into this idea. But it's actually been really helpful to let them do that because now we have a really great Sustainability Expo that comes every single year and staff is all in on buy-in and they do all the work for it. And, we get to be the support people and just continue to support it. So those are sort of 3 lessons learned that I wanted to share with all of you about creating sort of a large public event that has had a huge impact on our village and our surrounding communities. And I hope it's a little bit useful to you. I did also want to invite everybody because if you would like to have a table, there's no reason that you have to be from Morton Grove to do that. So if your group would like to have a table or if you'd like to collaborate with another Go Green or Greener group and have a shared table, please do. I'm going to put in the chat the how to sign up as an exhibitor. Again, it's free. I do recommend if you have the option to bring a shade tent. They do provide you with a table, but not a shade tent. So that's useful to have because it's usually sunny. And if anybody wants more information, please let me know. But it's a great event. It's a good one to come to just to see how it runs. But it's also a great one to exhibit at because we get new members sign up every single year.
Thank you. I want to just address one question in the chat from Jacqueline about Sustainability Fest. So the Go Green Morton Grove model is that the city organizes it, correct me if I'm wrong, and that you assist and show up, but you don't have to do the main organizing. In Highland Park, we participated, we planned an EV show in conjunction with the city's Arbor Day celebration. So that was another opportunity for us not to organize it and not to have to get the people to attend, but just to have an element as part of the show, which was really helpful. For when the city organizes it, at least in my experience, there's a lot more people who attend, with the possible exception of Beth's amazing fair that they used to do in Wilmette. And I don't know if Beth, if you're able to speak or not, I know you're driving. But Wilmette used to have a huge environmental fair. So many people attended, so many exhibitors. It was just an incredible event. Otherwise, you do often end up preaching to the converted and having just the environmentalists who attend. So I like doing it in conjunction with another event where you're going to get a bigger audience and an audience that isn't necessarily already all in. Now, Sheri from Greener Glenview is going to talk a little bit about the fair that they did, which is not the city organizing it, but Greener Glenview organizing it. And I can't see everybody. I'm sorry. So I don't know if you're on. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So we organized a clean energy fair and an EV show. We had been inspired by Go Green Wilmette's longtime environmental fair and by Go Green Morton Grove. But we decided after 2 years of participating in the solar tour, where not many people showed up to all these homes that we had so carefully orchestrated. We said, we're not getting the bang for the buck that we want. And we want to expose residents to the broader picture of clean energy. We wanted them to have a one-stop shop where they could learn about everything clean energy that we could put out there. And so we partnered with the Glenview Park District, which is very forward-thinking and has environmental principles and practices posted on their website. And we had this event. An EV show was outside of our large park center, and inside the park center, we had a variety of exhibitors in the following categories. So we had energy conservation. The purpose is to expose residents to ways that they could save money and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So the focus for those exhibitors was energy audits, insulation, and windows. Then we had the clean energy exhibitors. That would be rooftop solar and community solar. Then we had exhibitors regarding electric alternatives. So heat pump vendors, that's both for HVAC systems and water heaters, induction stoves, battery storage, backup battery powered generators, lawn care equipment, and EV charging stations. Then we had a section of nonprofits who work on clean energy issues. The most popular section of the event was an area we called Neighbor to Neighbor, Ask Us. And so it was people who had installed these products like battery storage or induction stoves to talk about their experience, not only with the products, but with their installers. The EV show was a combination of new cars from Glenview dealerships, as well as members' cars, Go Green members' cars. And we had an electric bikes too. And let's see, what else? Okay, we charged $100 to exhibitors if they were in the for-profit sector. Nonprofits didn't have to pay anything. And to the maximum extent possible, we invited Glenview businesses because we also wanted this to be a business promotion event. The exhibitors were recommended by our members or other trusted individuals like Kim. And so the solar and HVAC contractors, everyone who, so they were recommended by our members or significant other people who were knowledgeable. Same with the installers. The Glenview Art League participated. We had them, they came up with the idea of having them create a couple canvases on what sustainability means to Glenview. And that was a big hit with the kids as well as the adults. About 300 people attended, and these were people that we don't normally see at our events, in answer to Jacqueline's question. It was interesting that both the nonprofits and the for-profit exhibitors commented that the people who came to the fair were very serious people who had been looking into these issues for quite some time. So, you know, a clean energy fair is not something that people are going to say, oh, I have nothing else to do today, I think I'll go to the clean energy fair. These were really serious people. So we were pleased that about 300 people showed up. We also had an intern, thanks to Go Green Wilmette and Go Green Illinois, excuse me, who helped coordinate relevant materials that we have yet to post on our website. We've kind of fallen behind, even though our fair was at the end of April. We took some time off. It was a very exhausting enterprise that took a number of months to pull off. So we haven't quite finished that part yet. There was a lot of coordination required. And for that reason, we think it's a great idea to do on an annual basis, but it should be rotated between communities. There's no reason why only people in Glenview should know about all of these options for electrifying their home. And so we hope to put together a toolkit that can then be passed along to other Go Green groups in the Go Green Illinois network for them to take on so that their residents can learn about it. Let me see if there's anything else.
I've got a draft toolkit for the EV show, for organizing an EV show that the intern created. So
Great.
Hopefully that will help as well.
Yeah. So I think that's about it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we've got 4 more people. We're trying to finish by about 2 o'clock today so that everyone can hopefully get outside or go on about their summer activities. Katie Peterson was going to talk a bit about the Conservation at Home program and some other things going on in Des Plaines.
Hi, friends. Thank you for your time. Happy to be here. Just want to brag on our beautiful float in our first annual 4th of July parade in Des Plaines. We had a lot of fun. We had a green VW bug. It looked like a flower pot going down the street. Made a lot of friends. We are now certified. Go Green Des Plaines is certified evaluator with Conservation at Home. And we are having 5 of our 6 board members are have now either applied or are certified Conservation at Home garden, which is very exciting. And we are having our first, not sure what to call it now. It was sustainable garden tour, but now I think I have to come up with something a little bit more snappy, like you cool kids. Maybe green gardens. I don't know. We'll work on it. But anyway, it's August 11th, my birthday, from 9 o'clock until 1. And we are making our site. So we have a site within the Forest Preserve District of Cook County, Isaac Walton, in Des Plaines, and they are also going to be certified and the Conservation at Home. So that's pretty exciting. We also have I've been asked to speak about our new intern. When we were participating in the Taste of Des Plaines back in June, we came in contact with an old family friend who just happened to go to MIT and just who happens to work for Microsoft as a computer engineer. And she said that she wants to help us with our website. And I said, yes, please. And she signed us up with one of her students who is an AI summer camp. So she connected us with him, and he has been working really hard on our website, and it's super exciting to see what can happen. But just we're copying off of, we're getting a lot of help from Go Green Park Ridge with our sustainable garden tour on August 11th, and we're hoping to, we're volunteering with them on Sunday to find out exactly how it works and get more input from them, but we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of Go Green Des Plaines. July 27th is our first year anniversary, and we've got a lot of stuff done, and we're super excited to be friends with you all. So thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations on your anniversary. There should be some sort of celebration.
I agree.
Seema, are you on? Seema has been working on plastic or getting rid of plastic.
Thanks, Kim. Thank you, everyone. My name is Seema Keshav. I'm the founder of Go Green in Vernon Hills in Lincolnshire. And as Kim said, that we've spent a significant amount of effort in the past few years in terms of educating on the single-use plastics issue, and essentially also to try to change the narrative that plastics is not just an oceans issue. It is also an environmental justice issue as well as a health concern. So one of the things that we've done over the past several years is we've anchored on an event that we have found has been able to draw in members from the community, but it has also helped us to get legislators to come on board on some of the policies that we are campaigning for. So, for example, in 2019, so the event format is we pick a movie for our members to see or for the audience to see, and then we have a panel discussion post that. And we've built on this over the past few years in terms of, first it was only just Go Green Vernon Hills in Lincolnshire. The second time when we did the story of plastics, we partnered with other Go Green groups. I believe that was during the pandemic, and we had over 150 people register for our event online, and we had about 100 attend. This year, what we are doing is, and I'll put that in the chat, is we're partnering with the library, and our panelists, they include our state representative, Daniel Didich, and they also include the founder of Meloria Cleaning Products. So they make cleaning products that are free of plastic packaging. So they have cardboard and glass packaging. We have Jacqueline Casaza from Go Green Glen Ellen to talk to us about what she's doing at a community level. And then we have a high school student from Stevenson High School who's been working within the high school in terms of bringing reusables and trying to get rid of single-use plastics at the high school level. And the reason I talk about these different groups is I believe that this collaboration beyond just Go Green groups with the library as well as with the high school, and bringing in a legislator in our panel discussion will help us take it a step further as well. And the last thing I'll say is that with each one of these, we've always had to ask. So the first time we did this, we were looking to have Congressman Brad Schneider co-sponsor the federal bill, which is called the Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act. And subsequent to that, we did get him to co-sponsor. With this particular event that we're having on August 6th, we're looking to get more legislators to co-sponsor and be behind the statewide polystyrene foam ban, as well as the statewide single-use plastic bag ban. So we have an ask with each one of these. So I'll put the event in the chat. It's hybrid. It's in person and virtual as well. And we're asking the audience to watch. We're all plastic people now, but we're focusing the panel discussion on solutions. So I'll just put that in the chat, and we'll hopefully see some of you that are close by in person. Thank you.
Thanks, Seema. Okay, we've got two more. Joel Freeman.
Yeah, thank you, Kim. We've had a couple of interesting successes here in Evanston. One is we were able to cobble together some resources to hire an executive director, Jack Jordan, and he's been able to kind of deepen our outreach and expand, what is difficult to do as an all-volunteer organization, but as a paid staff person, he's been really dedicated, 5 days a week and then some to that. So that's been a real bonus for us. He started in April, so it's only been a couple of months now, but our outreach in the community is greatly enhanced. And I wanted to also pick up on some of the things that Gia mentioned in relation to the city. We have a really good working relationship with quite a few city staff here in Evanston, and that's really helped us not only kind of partner with some things, but contribute where we have people with expertise or background in some of the initiatives the city is trying to do. So it enables us to kind of work together, and that's been really helpful just to keep those relationships active. And then the final thing, Evanston's fiscal year is the same as the calendar year, which means that sometime in October there's a draft of a city budget prepared for the next fiscal year. And we have found that weighing in on a lot of the components of that are related to sustainability or climate issues and so forth really helps keep those in front of the people who are going to vote on that budget. So it's just sort of a highlight for anybody who knows when the budget cycle is for the city to get in when those new budgets are being created and weigh in, bring more people into those meetings and so forth to express their advocacy towards those things that are important to this place of the universe. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. I think it helps also that you have several really excellent members of City Council who have strong environmental interests, and your mayor's got strong environmental interest. I serve with Jonathan Newsma from Evanston City Council on the local climate network with the Run on Climate, which has been a really great resource for both of us. And we've been in contact with somebody from Oak Park as well, who's part of that board. So that's an opportunity for local elected officials from a bunch of different communities to coordinate that, kind of to share information like this group does, but among elected officials. So someone said, we need a tree ordinance, and I was able to say, we have a tree ordinance, and send them to the link. There was, when I was looking for information on electric vehicles, Cambridge, Massachusetts has incorporated a lot of EVs into their city fleet, especially with public safety. So they've been able to share that information. So it's been a really great resource. So it helps to have good people on your city councils, something to think about as elections come up in the spring for that of next year for most of our communities. Jacqueline.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Kazaza, co-founder of Go Green Glen Ellen. Karen Daly is also on. She's our other co-founder. I'm going to just talk about kind of a hodgepodge of things we've done with Go Green. So the first one is our Sports Swap. This is an event that we hold twice a year. Our sixth one is going to be this coming Sunday. And that is where we work with our park district we offer for residents to drop off gently used sports equipment the week prior to the swap, and then they get a voucher with credit for items that they've dropped off. And then on the day of the event, which this event is on Sunday, July 14th, families can come in and they can either use the voucher that they got for dropping stuff off, or they can also just pay for gently used sports equipment items. So we offer things like balls for $1, cleats for $5, bats for $10, and it's really grown. So this is our third year doing it, and it's our second one of the year. So it's really grown year over year in terms of how much stuff gets collected and also redistributed within the community. It's a really, really popular event. Families love it because they can come in and get their whole little squad of 5 and 7-year-olds outfitted for the soccer season for not a lot of money. And a lot of the stuff is in really good condition. And then some unexpected benefits from the sports swap is that it's enabled us to start to expand partnerships with other organizations and collect additional things. So we work with a group called Soccer Gear for Zambia. So all of our leftover soccer, everything like cleats, balls, but also the pennies, the practice jerseys that they give out, like regular jerseys, because in Glen Ellen kids get uniforms every year. I don't know why, but I know that's typical with a lot of other communities. But the uniforms, even like first aid kits, referee kits, like everything, like Soccer Gear for Zambia will take it all, and they ship twice a year to their partners over there. And then another thing specifically that we work to collect for that organization is girls' leggings, because girls cannot play soccer there if their legs are not covered. So that keeps them able to play sports and in school longer. It reduces the chance that they will become a child bride. So there's a lot of like really powerful things that just come out of collecting these gently used leggings in Glen Ellen. So we did that for the first time, I think, the last spring, and we collected almost 100 pairs of leggings, which they said was like the most ever. So if any of you are interested in doing a sports swap, I know we've worked with some other Go Green groups to kind of get this going in their communities. I know Glenview did one, and I've talked with other members as well. We'd be happy to share. We also have a bunch of resources on our website. Another collection we're doing just with this one is we're working with EcoShip. I don't know if people on this call are familiar with EcoShip, but they're a nonprofit based out of Chicago, and they collect gently used shipping and mailing materials. So like bubble wrap, Amazon mailers, packing paper, a lot of the stuff that like is not easily recyclable, and you keep it in your house for a long time because you think you might use it, but then you never end up using it. So we're working also with EcoShip to collect packing material through the sports swap, and then we're going to donate it back to them, and that gets reused in Chicago at local small businesses and nonprofits. So I know we can recycle like cardboard boxes and like the paper mailers, but it's so much better to just reuse those things if you can. So that's one thing we're doing, just a lot of collections. And then we've also started giving out micro grants, and our first 2 grants this year were used for, or are being used to help green up community events in Glen Ellen. So I have some props that'll show what we use the money for. So some of you may already saw, we sponsored, our Downtown Alliance did a beer tasting crawl around Glen Ellen, and we gave them, we purchased these glass mugs, tasting mugs for them, and lanyards. So instead of using all these plastic cups for the beer tasting, they used these reusable mugs, and participants loved the mugs. They like, oh, they're so cute. And then we collected mugs that people didn't want to keep at the end of the event so they could be reused for a future event. So that was one that we did. And then we're also working with our Chamber of Commerce. They have an event called Taste of Glen Ellen, which is like our summer carnival here in Glen Ellen. And last year we helped to organize aluminum can recycling, which was the first time there's ever been aluminum can recycling at this event. And we collected 360 pounds of aluminum in the 3 days that it was on. But in addition to the cans this year, we also secured aluminum bottled water instead of plastic bottled water. And we used a grant to purchase aluminum cups. Probably some of you have seen these for beer that's going to be poured on draft at the event. So what this means is that every single beverage container that will be used at this event will be in aluminum, which means they'll all be 100% recyclable, nothing in plastic, which we're really, really excited about. And we're working with a aluminum recycler to help us get everything done after the event. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is just some local advocacy that we've done specifically on the plastic issue. So Go Green recently met with our state senator to ask Laura Ellman to ask her to co-sponsor the HB 2376, the polystyrene foam foodware ban. and I'm blanking on the bill number now, but it's the the plastic bag ban as well. And we brought like a pretty diverse group of stakeholders to this meeting. I mean, we had 9 of us there. We had a 10-year-old boy who's my neighbor who's very passionate about climate change. He spoke about why this was important for it to get banned. And we also had people sharing, you know, their perspectives about all health things, like Seema was saying, like, you know, they have grown children with autoimmune disorders, or they're worried about like what's going to happen to their grandchildren. So we shared personal stories. We brought like timely news articles. We brought a petition with over 300 signatures that we had gotten from the community. And the end result was that she did agree to co-sponsor both bills. So this was it was really nice to kind of bring like a lot of community members together in on this, and sharing the petition was pretty simple. We just did it in Google Forms, but I think it was like a powerful moment for our volunteers, and also I think elevated our group, you know, to be able to go and show up to the senator's office in that way. So that's what we've been working on. I'd be happy to share if other groups are meeting with their elected officials. We have a bunch of notes from that meeting that I'd be happy to share out.
Thank you. It's, to me, really inspiring to hear such a range of different things that different groups are working on. So several of us are doing garden tours, but you did the first sports swap that I know of, at least in the area, and now you've shared that information with others to do as well. And the mugs and the cups and those sorts of things I think you're the only one doing that. So it's great that everybody's got different things going on and that we can learn from each other. Sheri asked how much money was raised from the sports swap. And I wanted to ask you where that money goes.
So the one we did in March, I believe raised around $1,150, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, a lot of it, the purpose is not a fundraiser. We do raise money, but you know, since people can come in with the credit, I think there's more stuff that gets traded necessarily than gets bought. But it was $1,150, and we split it between ourselves and the Glen Ellen Park District Foundation, which provides scholarship money to underprivileged families in Glen Ellen so they can participate in the different sports programs.
And Sheri said that they're donating the money to the Glenview Park Foundation from their sports swap. Highland Park was looking at doing a sports swap, but the Park District Foundation wanted us to do all the organizing of the event, all the promotion of the event, and then they wanted all the money from the event. So we said no.
We do the majority of the organizing, and we provide pretty much all the volunteers. The Park District is very helpful in that they let us use their space, and they help promote and market the event for us, but we do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Great. Okay, I have a list of several other topics that we wanted to touch on, but we only have about 7 minutes, but I'm going to read these topics really quickly and kind of go through them to provide some more information in case anyone's interested in learning more about these things. Plastic Free July is happening. There is a short post on the Go Green Illinois website about it with a link to the Plastic Free July website in case you've got in case you want to put some information in a newsletter about tips on how to reduce plastic. I think we already touched a little bit on interns, but that can be a topic for a future discussion. A lot of groups are doing book discussions. There's Go Green Reads, Highland Park partners with the library. There's some League of Women Voters book discussion groups that incorporate environmental books. We talked about EV shows. Update on the leaf blower ban. It just seems quieter since we've been more aggressive at enforcing our gas leaf blower ban. I'm not sure if other communities are feeling that same way, if it seems quieter. But we can talk about that more in the fall, perhaps. If you haven't already seen it, and if your community's not been involved with it, there's a report on the City of Highland Park website, which is cityhpil.com. I can put that in the chat. And the leaf blower report, if you just search for leaf blower report on the website. But that leaf blower report gives a lot of recommendations based on the team that met from a bunch of different communities, spearheaded by Beth Drucker. Unplug Illinois is happening I believe next Saturday, I think it's the 13th, many of our park districts are doing these electronics-free event days and activities. So take a look at what your park district is doing for that. Maybe that's something that some of our groups want to get involved with next year. Several of us are doing bag exchanges at the farmers market. We post on the Free Box page on Facebook and ask people if they have extra reusable tote bags to donate. And when people clean up, they are giving us those bags. We're bringing them to the farmers market clean, putting them in a box. The person who is in charge of the farmers market brings that box to and from the market every week now. And we have given away hundreds and hundreds of bags over the last, each year over the last several years to people who would otherwise take plastic bags, single-use plastic bags. Compost giveaways. We did a compost giveaway in the spring where Swalco was able to acquire some compost with help from the city. There was a huge pile of it in the parking lot of a park district and city facility. And people could come with buckets and take a certain amount of it. And then after a certain hour, they could just take as much as they want. So there were people coming back for more. Pumpkin smashes, people are organizing pumpkin smashes probably for the fall. And we can talk about that at the next meeting as well, but that has been a really successful thing for many of us. Somebody asked about strategic planning, which is probably the topic for another meeting. But I know that we did a strategic plan in Highland Park. I know that you've done them in Wilmette. Some of the other groups have done them as well. We had one person on our steering committee who was just really an expert in strategic planning, and she was able to give us a framework. And we went through and had a couple of meetings and came up with a format that worked for us. Different groups have different formats. I don't think anyone's on here from Deerfield today, but Deerfield had a really interesting organizational chart, which was a tree. It was a picture of a tree, and each branch was a different topic. So that was, a fun one for a Go Green group. Beth, anything I've missed?
Yeah, so I have just a couple things wanted to mention too. Thanks, Kim. If you don't have lethal restrictions in your community, wow, that is really something you could make a difference with. And so the report that Kim Stone mentioned is the step one. Send that to your elected officials or staff and say, hey, it's time for us to do the same thing. Some groups are finding recycling corks. We're not going to save the planet, but it is a good way to engage people, and cork recycling programs are pretty easy to do. We're doing that in conjunction. We have a country club that's doing it. We have our local wine cellar that's doing it, and it's getting people into their shop. We suggested if you drop your corks off, talk to the wine cellar about sustainable, biodynamic, or organic wine at the same time. We are in Wilmette, we are doing some exploratory meetings about a community garden. This would not be with private plots. It's with a garden that's owned by the whole community, similar to the Glencoe community garden. If you have something like that in your community, let me know, Beth at gogreenwilmette.org, because we're trying to find some really good models. The corks are often used for sport tracks or shoe things. And if you Google it, Jacqueline, you can find some really good organizations. Also, we just had a beautiful heritage oak tree cut down in our community. We have a new and improved leaf tree ordinance. However, if a developer wants to buy their way out of the restrictions, they can. We knew that was a problem. That continues to be a problem. If a developer can tear down an old small house and double the size of it and has to take out a tree to do it, they just pay the fine. And we're going to be planting lots of little trees that will not in any way make up for the loss of this heritage oak tree. So this was a sad week in Wilmette. Also, again, put your ideas for future meetings into the chat. And we just had a Go Green Reads. Everyone in all the groups are welcome to just send people to Go Green Reads. We do 6 books a year. It's really lovely, fun. So we would encourage anyone who doesn't want to start their own book group to just partner up with another group that's already doing it. That's how we can all do more for less. So that's all I had to report.
Okay. Did I miss anyone? Does anybody else have anything they want to report on really, really, really quickly? Okay. So thank you all for coming. We're gonna let you go. It's 2:00. Our next meeting is, I should have had the date, right? September, it's the second
Second Tuesday.
September. September 10th at 1:00. So if anybody has topic ideas, please email us. You can use my emails in the chat, but you can also use the contact us form on our website. And it was great to see everybody, and thank you for coming. See you in September.
Kim, can I do a PS, please?
Yeah.
When we listen to what all these other groups are doing, it's sometimes you can, including I can go, God, we're just being slackers. Everybody else is doing more. Always just be happy that you're at the place you're at. And when you realize what's happening in your community, the vast majority of communities don't have groups like yours. Most of these groups start with one person or a couple of people. We know the power of that. If you know someone in a community that does not have an environmental group, you could really make a difference if you suggest that someone starts one in another community. Okay, so that's all I have.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Kim, you want to stay on for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Scout wants to get out of the car.
Scout really wants to get out of the car. Hello, Scout. She's like, why are you in the driveway? And I've been in the car for 5 hours and I'm not out yet. So yeah, she needs to go. She needs to get out of the car. Kim, thank you for running the meeting. As I said, the timing could not have been worse, but you did a fabulous job and I just got to listen. So that was nice.
Well, it was difficult to be monitoring the chat and letting people in all at the same time.
Yeah, at one point someone signed on really late and I thought, oh my God, did I forget to let someone in? Sarah McMurray, that you are named Jean Feck, Western Springs. You two are both new. Tell us, what brought you here today?
You've got to unmute. There you
got to
go.
unmute.
Yeah. Hey, so I pop in now and then.
You do, okay. And what community are you from?
But I'm a realtor and I'm in Skevinston between Skokie and Evanston. So I'm kind of a floater between the two.
Okay.
I'm trying to pay attention. I just had rotator cuff surgery, so I'm kind of winged at the moment. But I'm following along and planning to get involved. I turned my side yard into a pollinator paradise.
Oh, great.
So,
there are certainly.
And I have solar and I have heat pumps and I have all the green stuff. I just need to take the next step and get involved.
Well, there's a group in Skokie that's kind of in and out, and there's plenty of organizations in Evanston too.
Right.
And
yep, I just need to take the next step.
I'm Jean Feck, and I'm a member of a group at St. John of the Cross in Western Springs called CARES. And one of my responsibilities is a volunteer gardener. So we've created pollinator gardens in our church gardens instead of having annuals. And that's what got me going. And now I'm, on a recycling mission, and I volunteer to do other recycling events, and Go Green LaGrange is nearby. So I try to participate in their events too.
Excellent.
So Jean, is there any way you'd want to start Go Green Western Springs?
I think we would have more power if we expanded a little west suburban versus having all the individual, LaGrange, Western Springs, LaGrange Park. I think we'd have a little bit more visibility, and we could certainly have joint events if we did a little bit of a bigger footprint. So we're thinking about it.
Yeah. So other groups have done that. Just put it right there. So how many people live in Western Springs?
20, I'm going to say 20,000. I might be high.
Okay, that's 4 times bigger than some of our communities that have their own groups.
Oh,
so
sure. Yes.
Do whatever works for you. But what we love, so some groups do start out combined, and then they find there's so much to do that they choose to separate, or they stay as partners. But we'd love to see more people from Western Springs involved. That's really great that you've gotten so involved.
I know we've got the interest.
Yep.
Well, LaGrange has picked up activities in the last couple of years, so partnering with them is certainly a good idea. I see you're sort of near Brookfield as well.
Mhm.
And there's a small Go Green Brookfield group. So
Oh,
that
that's
might
good to
be,
know.
that might be a good
Yep.
one to partner with. So if
Okay,
you
thank you.
want, you can always message us through the website.
I will.
And
Yes,
we
I will.
we can connect you with the appropriate people.
Okay, thank you very much.
Super. Okay, well, thanks. Glad to have both of you
Yeah.
on today. And yes, I'm gonna go let my dog out. She's been so good.
Poor girl.
Poor girl. Kim, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, Kim.
Yeah, I've got to stop the recording. Right? Stop.
Okay, good.